either. Take 4. This time I'm not going to mess it up. This is going to be part 1. I don't know if there's going to be part 2, but this is part 1 why I switched from FL Studio to Studio One. Check this out. Here's FL Studio, right? Normal procedure for recording is I make a mic bus right here. Let's call it that. I put the mic in it. Bop, 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 bop. There's no latency at all. Great. Then I put some effects on, which are heavy. Let's say this one. 32, very CPU intensive. And then it's like I can hear myself double. That's a problem. So let's say I add a little altar boy. Loading. There. Little. And here we go. And let's say we pitch it down or we change the format. Let's take. And suddenly, it's even worse latency. So if we go to options, audio options, see 118 milliseconds latency. Ooh, that's not good. And often you have to turn off the buffer length if you got a big project. When, let's say you finish the song, you got the beat in the same project as you got the, let's say you have the beat, made it in FL Studio, somebody comes in and, oh, let's record on it. They record on the beat, master it, and then they come back and like, oh shit, can we record that one word or one verse or one thing again? Cool, we can. Just wait an hour while I turn off all the effects that require too much CPU. And let's say you got 50 tracks of them. Let's say you got 50 tracks over here. And you click shift, left click to turn off things. Or even here, you turn off every single effect you got on almost every channel. And then they record. And then you turn on all the effects. You go to the buffer length, choose the buffer length down again. And then you go, boom, listen to this. Ah, we didn't like it. We're going back in and we do it again, they say. You're like, please. Turn off all the effects again. Change the buffer size. Boom, blah, blah. It's such a hassle. Now, that was FL Studio. And FL Studio is great. I've used it for 17 years, so don't come here and tell me you haven't used it enough and anything. I started in 2003. I think it was version 8 or 7 or something. I used FL Studio 11 for the longest time, then 12. Whatever. And then 20. I own it. So don't come here and tell me I haven't used it before. There are more things like the hotkeys of FL Studio. You can't change them. They're locked. So the hotkeys P, T, and C for paintbrush, mute, and cut, which I use all the time when editing vocals, are laid out so far apart. You need to do this. You need to like work like this. So I changed it. I used separate buttons on the keyboard. Now I don't have that keyboard anymore. But I used the mouse. I linked it to these buttons. So I could get around that problem. Because the hotkeys of Studio One. Here. Let's open a new project. So let's just go. The thing about Studio One here is hotkeys are changeable. I can assign anything to whatever I like. Here. You can go remove parameter on automation. Enter key. Lots of them I don't even use. But let's say you got macros even. Like, you see add tracks here. Remove track. I've added everything. So add mono track. Remove track. Add tracks. You see, I've used all Control, Alt, Shift keys to have all the hotkeys of mine to this. Yes. Put it on the camera. To this side of the keyboard. The W's, the E's. See? I have all these. The arm for record. Pre-roll for record. Create ranges. Like reverse audio. Everything is in the same place. Let's say I record something here. Boo, 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 boo. And the cool thing about it is if I monitor this, hey, and I add Pro L again. Yo, yo, yo. I turn up crazy oversampling, everything. Still no delay. Because of a feature called options here. Low latency monitoring. Standard monitoring, audio round trip, 120 milliseconds. Instrument, 52 milliseconds. Low latency. English is not my first language, that's why the accent is weird. 13.6, 8.16. No matter what you put in your project, I never change the buffer size. It's always 120 or even lower because that only affects the recording. Everything else is processed in, you see here, is on standard mode, not low latency. Everything else is buffered in standard, which is then controlled by the dropout protection, which is here. You can choose maximum. I got it on medium. On maximum, some things start, like some plugins get turned off that shouldn't be. But what it basically does, it turns off all plugins that are too heavy automatically when monitoring. So if I add a piano, let's go to personas here, and let's add a oh, that's effects. I want to go here. Let's add a presence piano, and let's go here and add a. Now let's go Rhodes, wet Rose. Do this. Boom. No latency at all, no matter how big the project is, no matter what you're doing. And the crackling there is from OBS because the ACO driver for OBS makes things crackle a bit. Oh, sorry. Nothing you can do with it. I tried. And also, new tone and new time are not that easy to use. So yeah, let's say I want to quantize this to the beat. Let's have a click on. Boo, 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 boo. Okay, that's off as hell. You can't say that word on YouTube. Let's say then we go and add some points here, right? And we add and then I go like, no, I don't want to do this manually. I let go to sensitive analyze. No, that's too many points. Let's remove a few. Double point here. We don't need that. Let's do this. Okay. Fine. No, let's do it like this. Okay, cool. Then you can quantize audio files by clicking Q. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. And then you can go add, let's say you want some vocals on that. You can say boo 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 boo. And then you have to fix it because that's bad. Boo, 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 boo. And then you do it all in a playlist, and it's like, boom, done. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. And let's say the first bang is too loud. So let's just go into this mode. Boo, 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 boo. A little bit loud. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Even. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Just turn down the first part of it. Let's say this starts off the grid. I can just get it on the grid by doing boop, 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 boop. There. You can see the MIDI inside there. I don't know if you can. And now I didn't show you even. It's melodyne. It's here. See all my screens. Melodyne here. And then it's boop, 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 instantly corrected in the software. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Awesome. And also, you can add a chord track. Nah, now I'm going too far. This is part 2 stuff. But yeah, in FL Studio, all these things, I would have to turn off the Pro L, which is on the master channel. I would have to do all sorts of different things to the audio in order to be able to do these things, or the audio, the mixer. Because you would have to turn off all the effects you're using. I can just put autotune on this thing, and if I want to record something else there, I can just click record arm, and now it monitors with the autotune without latency at all. Even though every effect, and this is the autotune, I think, with no, it's the classic, it's the low latency version. Yeah, doesn't matter still. Pro L is on, and yeah, it just works so great. The hotkeys, the way you can quantize audio files and even new time them. New time is the plugin in FL Studio to do this, where you got to first consolidate the track to keep it in the playlist at the right tempo to find out how it sounds best. Same with new tone. It's just such a hassle that you need to go through 5 steps to do something. Here, if you see the thing I've recorded here, you click Control M, and it detects, boom. It's super quick, it's super easy. And that's the thing. If you like FL Studio a lot, of course I did too. I would never change. I was the kind of guy that went to YouTube videos and went like, FL Studio can do that also, but we can also do blah 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 blah, and I never listened to anybody giving me advice. Also, it was because I didn't like most of the programs I've seen, like Cubase. Even though it's a great program, it's like I didn't like the look of it. Ableton, never liked. I can't. Like, it's just too different. It seems to me non-logical, so I never even thought about using time to learn it. And then Studio One came along, and I saw a video about it, and I just tested it out. And while using the trial, I just got hooked. I've never opened a trial of a program and been able to make a song in the first 10 minutes. When I opened Studio One, okay, I've seen the advertisement. So if I do this, boom, and I put a beat together, and it's like, wow, that was easy. Now, I got my experience from FL Studio, and I say that FL Studio got lifetime free updates, and I was still waiting for the updates to add new tone and new time to the playlist, so it's not a separate entity. Still hasn't happened, and then I couldn't take it anymore. I had to try these functions out in Studio One because I saw the advertisement, and then I tested it, and I'll never go back. Like, FL Studio is good for ZgameVisualizer, Patcher, Grossbeat, P controller. Those 4 things I'm missing. Also, channel rack. It's great if you want to make EDM. Let's say you want to make some hip hop beats, like trap beats. Slide notes in a playlist in FL Studio. You don't have that in Studio One. You have to automate it. That's kind of shitty. Like, slide notes are awesome. Like, if you just add a bass with Citrus or sampler, taking an 808, slide them every which way you want, and it's great. So FL Studio, if you use FL Studio and you're not going to record bands, you're not going to record people in the booth all the time, you're not going to have customers, and you get the time to do all these small things, these small steps that needs to be done in order to get everything to function properly, and you're okay with not best latency, not the best whatever. You don't have analog gear, because FL Studio doesn't work with analog gear, because there's no way to you need to manually calculate the round trip latency with what plugins you got and how much time it takes. It's just, I tried to do the math and I tried to make it work. I couldn't do it. Studio One, open a plugin, add the hardware, done. It just calculates. Now you see 2 sine waves. Let's say you send a sine wave through, you see 2 sine waves, and there's aligned. and then you put a picture. I can even show you, man. I gotta show you that thing. Like if I go to pipeline, mono pipeline, and I open here my Composer Pro. What? No. You kidding me? I thought I had saved. No. Let's try the pipeline stereo. I thought I'd saved the thing. Didn't I? Oh, of course, I'm not going to the presets. My gear. There you got the preset. Now, if I... now I need to return pipeline, mono, then choose here, compressor. Down. There you see a picture of it. And it just works, because you see offset here and everything. It doesn't use latency, but it will also turn everything you render through it into real-time rendering. And everything that don't render through it is offline rendering, unless you choose to have online rendering. Now, this outro of this video got way too long, but just FL Studio, you making beats? Great. But if you got the money to spare and you're serious about having people in your booth, stuff like that, I would just say Studio One is not hard to get into. Super easy. And when you like me, notice how quickly you can do the things that was like a hassle before. It was like you hoped that customers wouldn't come back and be like, I want to sing the chorus again. Do you have to? And then I would use a few hours before they came to consolidate everything and maybe get everything ready. And then like, well, we don't like that piano part. Can you add these notes instead? And you're like, oh no, I just deleted all that. Oh. Okay, part 2. There's more. There's more settings like mixer scenes and all these things and import pro from pro. It's so much. That's so great. And it's just helped me a ton. And I can't even think about going back. Except for the ZgameVisualizer, slide notes, key controller, patcher, and grow speed. 5 things FL Studio has, nobody else has. I don't know about P controller, but those other things, I haven't seen them anywhere. Maybe Reaper has something like patcher. Okay, the video's over. My ADD, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please subscribe or like or whatever. And if we get enough views, it might come a part 2, and then I will try to not make it as chaotic as this one. Have a good day. Record.